Yo, what is up, guys? Today we're doing a full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Thompson versus Neal. This fight card currently has 15 fights on it. That is absolutely insane. I've never seen a fight card with this many fights on it. Usually fight cards only have 11, 12, maybe even 10 fights on the fight card. Even the pay-per-view that just happened with Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo, that fight card at UFC 256, which was a pay-per-view where you had to pay money for the fight, $65 for the full night of fights. It only had 10 fights on it. This one has 50% more of the fights, 15 fights on this fight card. That is just absolutely insane. It is the last fight night of the year. There were 4 other fights that were supposed to be on the fight card, which could have made this a 19-fight night. That would have been absolutely insane. The fight between Misha Kurganov and Ryan Spann ended up getting canceled. Kurganov ended up getting injured, and then Alexandre Pantoja versus Manel Kape. That fight ended up getting canceled because Alexandre Pantoja withdrew from the fight. Tyson Nam and Matt Schnell, that one just ended up getting plain canceled. Then obviously Leon Edwards and Khamzat Chimaev, that fight ended up getting canceled because Leon Edwards ended up getting COVID. But now there is 15 fights on this fight card. It's an amazing fight card. Even if you look at the prelims are absolutely stacked. The first fight of the night is a lightweight fight between Rick Glenn and Carlton Minus. Then we have a flyweight fight between Jimmy Flick, an absolutely amazing grappler, versus Cody Durden. That should be a good flyweight fight. Then we have a middleweight fight between Tafon Nchukwi and Jamie Pickett, two guys that just recently got a win on Dana White's Contender Series. Tafon Nchukwi is only 4-0, and he's already in the UFC. That is absolutely insane. Should be a good middleweight fight there. Then we have a bantamweight fight between Draco Rodriguez, who just got a win on the Contender Series, taking on Ayman Zahabi, which is a bantamweight fight. That should be another good fight on this prelim. Then we have Deron Wynn and Antonio Arroyo. This is a catchweight fight, I believe, at 195 pounds. Should be a very interesting fight for Antonio Arroyo, taking on a top 50 middleweight in the world. Then we have a fight I really expect fireworks in Carl Robertson and Dolce Gambola. This fight is a middleweight fight. We have top 30 Carl Robertson and top 50 Dolce Gambola. Should be an amazing fight. I expect a knockout in that one. That one is one that Dana would probably say, if you don't know, now you know. That's going to be a very good fight. Then we have Pannie Kianzad and Sijara Eubanks. Is a women's bantamweight fight. 2 top 15 women's bantamweights going at it on these prelims. Then we have Belal Muhammad, who was actually, I believe, supposed to be fighting Sean Brady, but Sean Brady ended up pulling out of the fight. Now Belal Muhammad will be taking on Diego Lima. Should be a good welterweight fight, the last fight on the prelims. And that leads us to the main card. This main card is so stacked. I honestly would pay $100 for this main card. This main card is absolutely amazing. The first fight on the main card, I believe, between Anthony Pettis and Alex Murano, which is a welterweight fight. Anthony Pettis, 23-10, a top 25 welterweight fighter in the world. Alex Murano, 18-6, a top 50 welterweight fighter in the world. Amazing. That's all I have to say with that one. Then we have Gillian Robertson, an amazing grappler, the 12th best women's flyweight in the world, taking on Taila Santos, who's the 23rd best women's flyweight in the world, 16-1. An amazing striker there, so it should be a good grappler versus striker fight there. And then we go on to the heavyweights. This one is going to be good as well. Marcin Taibira and Greg Hardy. This is probably the closest fight on this fight card. It's literally -110 on all the betting odds sites for this fight. Should be a very good one between 2 top 25 heavyweights in the world. And then we have a fight that on any normal UFC fight night, this could be a or maybe even a main event. We have Marlon Rice taking on Rob Font, the number 4 bantamweight and the number 8 bantamweight. This is an amazing fight. I don't know why this fight's so low on it. These dudes are even better than Jose Aldo and Marlon Vera. I don't know why they're lower on this fight card. Maybe because the UFC is trying to push Marlon Vera. But yeah, that fight between Marlon Rice and Rob Font is going to be an amazing one. And then we still have 3 more fights on this main card, which is just absolutely insane to say. After Marlon Rice and Rob Font, there is still 3 more fights on the fight card. That is just absolutely insane. The next fight, dude, oh my god, dude, Michelle Pajeta and Chaos Williams. This one is going to be so good. Both of these fighters know how to keep the fight on the feet and make it a very fun fight to watch. Michelle Pajeta, he makes every single fight he goes into the absolute funnest fight to watch. His last win coming against Zelim Imadaev, he absolutely dominated that fight and made it an absolute show. Chaos Williams coming off of a nice win against Abdul Razak Al Hassan in a co-main event a couple of weeks ago. That should be an amazing co-main event on this fight card, and that leads to the co-main event on this fight card between Jose Aldo and Marlon Vera. I mean, Jose Aldo just had a title shot with the best bantamweight fighter in the world in Petr Yan. Marlon Vera just got a win over Sean O'Malley. It's an amazing co-main event between two top 15 bantamweights in the world, and you guys all know it. The main event of the evening was supposed to be Leon Edwards and Khamzat Chimaev, but is now Stephen Thompson and Geoff Neal. It should be an amazing main event. Even though it's a short notice 5-round fight, it still should be an absolutely amazing one. Geoff Neal has never been in a 5-round fight. Stephen Thompson has been in a couple in his career. He's the 6th best welterweight, taking on the 12th best welterweight fighter in the world. Should be an amazing night of fights. I cannot wait. Alright guys, now let's get started with the first fight of the night between Rick Glenn and Carlton Minus, which is a lightweight fight. Rick Glenn is the 53rd best featherweight fighter in the world. Carlton Minus is the 134th welterweight fighter in the world. Yes, you heard me right. Rick Glenn is a featherweight fighter. Carlton Minus is a welterweight fighter. Rick Glenn is moving up to lightweight. Carlton Minus is moving down to lightweight. So who knows how that's going to play a factor in this fight. But Rick Glenn is 21-6-1. He's actually coming off of a loss around 2 years ago to Kevin Aguilar by unanimous decision. Before that, he got a win over Dennis Bermudez by split decision, and then before that lost a decision to Miles Jury, and then before that had a nice career beating guys like Felipe Nover, and then Gavin Tucker, giving Gavin Tucker his first and only ever loss in MMA. Carlton Minus only had one fight inside the UFC about 3 months ago, which he ended up losing to Matthew Semmelsberger by unanimous decision. They're both sort of similar ages. Rick Glenn is 31 and a half years old. Carlton Minus 27 and a half years old. Rick Glenn has the height and not the reach advantage, but he does have the height advantage at 6 foot tall. Carlton Minus 5 foot 10 inches tall. And then he also has a reach of 74 inches compared to a reach of 70 and a half inches for Rick Glenn. I definitely do think this fight is going to take place on the feet. I don't think this fight's going to go to the ground really at all in this fight. I think this is a striker versus striker fight. Rick Glenn obviously has the bulk of the experience between these two fighters. He is a little bit older, but he's in the prime of his career. Carlton Minus is just before his prime of his career. Carlton Minus is definitely going to be trying to use that reach advantage in this fight, but I think Rick Glenn, his striking is way too good, even though he's coming off of a loss around 2 years ago, coming back after 2 years of not fighting at all. He will have a little bit of ring rust, but I know for a fact that he is the better striker in this fight, and I know that's going to show in the fight with Carlton Minus on Saturday, and that is why I think Rick Glenn is going to keep the fight on the feet and absolutely dominate, and then get a unanimous decision win over Carlton Minus in this fight. Alright guys, so the next fight on this fight card between Jimmy Flick and Cody Durden. This fight is a flyweight fight. I honestly cannot wait for this fight. It was supposed to happen, I believe, 2 weeks ago on that Hermansson versus Vettori fight card. But I'm not really sure what happened. Cody Durden ended up pulling out of the fight just a couple of days before the fight, or hours. It was really close to the fight date that Cody Durden ended up pulling out of the fight, so I'm not really sure what happened there. But they are going to be fighting on this UFC Fight Night, which makes it so much better. There's 15 fights on this fight card, which is absolutely insane. I mean, Jimmy Flick, 15-5. That's a very good record in this flyweight division. He got a loss about a year and 10 months ago against Ray Rodriguez by knockout. Came back after that loss with a submission win over Jesse Bazzi, joined the LFA, and then won the LFA Flyweight Championship with an arm triangle choke submission win over Greg Fisher. Got on a Dana White's Contender Series where he ended up fighting Nate Smith and submitted him in the 3rd round. It was an absolutely dominating performance about 3 months ago. He is 30 years old, 5 foot 6 inches tall, and has an amazing reach of 70.5 inches. Cody Durden, coming off of a draw to Chris Gutierrez, before that was on an amazing streak outside of the UFC with a bunch of finishes. Mainly by submission, but some of those were by knockout. I mean, he's 29 years old, 5 foot 7 inches tall, has a little bit less of a reach than Jimmy Flick at 67 inches. So this should be a very interesting fight. Now Jimmy Flick is a slight favorite to win this one, currently sitting, I believe, around minus 140, minus 150, somewhere around there. Cody Durden's around plus 140 to win this fight. Then a lot of people do think that Jimmy Flick's just going to go out there and get a submission. It's going to be so easy. Jimmy Flick's going to dominate, get the submission super duper fast. I don't actually think he's going to get the submission really fast. I think it's going to be kind of like the fight that he had with Nate Smith 3 months ago on Dana White's Contender Series. He's going to go for submission after submission after submission over and over and over again. Keep on trying, and eventually he'll get it. I am very confident Jimmy Flick will get a submission in this one, just not in the first and just not in the second round. I think it's going to be very, very hard to submit a good wrestler like Cody Durden, who can escape some of those submissions of Jimmy Flick. But I think it's going to be too much to handle for Cody Durden, and that's why I think Jimmy Flick is going to get a submission in the third round. Alright guys, for this next fight, I am 100% telling you right now, this fight is not going to go all the way. It's ending in the first or second round by a finish, 1000%. It is a middleweight fight between Tafon Nchukwi and Jamie Pickett. Tafon Nchukwi, undefeated, 4-0, absolutely insane, 26 years old, 6 foot tall, 77-inch reach. Jamie Pickett, 32 years old, has a record of 11 wins, 4 losses. He is a little bit taller than Tafon Nchukwi at 6 foot 2 inches tall, and has a much longer reach at 80 inches. This should be a very, very good fight. A lot of people are saying this fight's going to end as a knockout. And I mean, they are all 100% right when they're saying that, because Tafon Nchukwi, if you look at the fight that he had on Dana White's Contender Series, I mean, it was absolutely vicious. He put him out cold. Jamie Pickett, not really. He didn't put his opponent out cold. It was a little bit controversial as his opponent. I forgot the name. I believe Jonathan Potty ended up standing up right after he ended up getting knocked out with a TKO. But I mean, still, Tafon Nchukwi, he definitely has much more power than Jamie Pickett, and he has much more speed. He kind of looks like that one guy that just fought on UFC 256, Cyril Gane. He looks exactly like that guy. He looks so fluid. He looks like a lightweight when he's punching out there. I mean, Tafon Nchukwi is absolutely insane. I definitely think he's going to get a knockout in this one, probably in the first or second round. That is my prediction. Tafon Nchukwi, undefeated. He's going to become 5-0 after this win here, with a knockout in the first or second round. Alright guys, so this next fight on this fight card between Draco Rodriguez and Ayman Zahabi is a bantamweight fight. Draco Rodriguez is on a 3-fight win streak. He's 7-1. His only one loss coming to Tony Gravely about 2.5 years ago. Since then, he's looked much better with a win over Shine Moffitt by submission, and then a win over Fard Muhammad by unanimous decision. Got a shot on Dana White's Contender Series, where he ended up beating Mana Martinez, who was really hyped as a legit UFC prospect. But he absolutely shut Mana Martinez down with a triangle choke submission, I believe in the first or second round. That was absolutely insane. He's very young as well, Draco Rodriguez. He's only 24.5 years old, 5 foot 9 inches tall, and has a reach of almost 70 inches. Ayman Zahabi is on a 2-fight losing streak. Those are his only 2 pro MMA losses. 3 years ago to Ricardo Ramos by spinning back elbow, and then Vince Morales by unanimous decision about 1.5 years ago. So it's been a while since his last fight. He's 33 years old. He's getting up there in the age, 5 foot 8 inches tall, a little bit smaller than Draco Rodriguez, and has a 68-inch reach. I'm just going to say it right now. Draco Rodriguez has every advantage in this one. He has the age advantage. He has the height advantage. He even has the size advantage. He looks much bigger than his opponents in his fights, and he definitely has that reach advantage in this one. And I mean, if he can get the fight to the ground against Ayman Zahabi, I think he'll have no problem at all in this fight, dominating the fight and getting a unanimous decision, using his wrestling and using his grappling, absolutely dominating Ayman Zahabi, getting Ayman Zahabi his 3rd loss in a row. I think that would be very good for Draco Rodriguez to do. It would really propel his career if he gets a finish in this one. But yeah, I think the fight will go all the way, and I have Draco Rodriguez winning the fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, so the next fight on this fight card is a catchweight fight at 195 pounds between Deron Wynn and Antonio Arroyo. This fight is going to be good. Deron Wynn is on a 2-fight losing streak right now to Gerald Mearshart and I believe Darren Stewart by split decision and rear naked choke submission. Before that, he did get a couple of wins outside the UFC, and then 1 win inside the UFC against Eric Spicely by unanimous decision. They're both 31.5 years old. And then Antonio Arroyo definitely has the height and reach advantage, as he is 6 foot 3 inches tall and has a reach of 73.5 inches. Deron Wynn is 5 foot 6 inches tall and has a reach of 70 inches. So a humongous advantage there for Antonio Arroyo. If you look at the betting odds for this one, -140 is Antonio Arroyo. Deron Wynn is +140. So I mean, Antonio Arroyo is a 1.5 time favorite to beat Deron Wynn in this catchweight fight. But I think he should be much bigger of a favorite because I mean, Antonio Arroyo's grappling is absolutely insane, and seeing as he is literally so so much taller, literally 9 inches taller than Deron Wynn, and has a reach that is 3.5 inches longer. I mean, Antonio Arroyo is going to absolutely dominate the fight on the ground, and there's a humongous chance that he gets a submission in this one or wins the fight by unanimous decision. I actually give the chances that he gets a submission in this one 60%. I give the chances that this fight goes all the way and Antonio Arroyo wins the fight by unanimous decision, maybe a 40% chance. But my final prediction for this fight is Antonio Arroyo by submission in the first or second round. I think his submission skills, his grappling, his wrestling is going to be way too much for Deron Wynn to handle in this fight, and that's why I have Antonio Arroyo winning this fight by first or second round submission. Alright guys, so for this next fight, I'm telling you right now, I fully expect this fight to not go the distance. I expect this one to be a finish in the first or second round between Draco Rodriguez and Dolce Gambola. Dolce is currently 10-2, the 46th best lightweight fighter in the world, coming off of a loss to Magomed Ankalaev by front kick KO about a year ago. He's 35 years old, 5'8" inches tall, and has a reach of 76 inches. Draco Rodriguez is the 30th best middleweight fighter in the world, coming off of a loss to Marvin Vettori by submission, rear naked choke over 5 months ago. He's 30 years old, 6 foot 1 inch tall, and has a reach of 74 inches. I'm telling you guys right now, Dolce Gambola, his main way to win this fight is by knockout. Draco Rodriguez, his main way of winning the fight, probably going to be by submission. And then Dolce Gambola, he's definitely going to go out there in that first round and 100% go for that knockout. Do I think he's going to get it? No, I do not. He's 35 years old, going against Draco Rodriguez, who has a very good chin, and who would definitely want to keep this fight on the ground and go for his submission in this fight. Coming off of a loss to Marvin Vettori, a very good submission specialist. I think he wants to get a submission of his own in this one, and I think Draco Rodriguez has good enough submissions in this fight to actually get a submission against Dolce Gambola in this one. I don't think this fight's going to go all the way. Draco Rodriguez is going to dominate the fight on the ground, and I think he will get a submission in the second round in this fight. Alright guys, so in this next fight, we have a women's bantamweight fight, Pannie Kianzad versus Sijara Eubanks. Pannie Kianzad is the 14th best bantamweight fighter in the world. Sijara Eubanks is the 15th best bantamweight fighter in the world. So we have two top 15 women's bantamweights going at it on the prelims. Pannie Kianzad is actually coming off of 2 wins here against Beth Correia by unanimous decision, and then I believe Jessica Rose Clark also by unanimous decision, only losing to 2 people inside the UFC, in Macy Chiasson and I believe Julia Avila. Sijara Eubanks has had a little bit of an up and down career so far in the UFC, beating girls like Sarah Moras, Julia Avila, Roxanne Modafferi, but losing to people like Ketlin Vieira, an absolute beast, Beth Correia, and Aspen Ladd. This should be a very interesting fight. 2 top 15 women's bantamweights going at it. Pannie Kianzad is still in the 20s. She's 29 years old. Sijara Eubanks, I believe, is 35 years old. Different height and reaches for both of these fighters. Pannie Kianzad, 5'7" inches tall, 66-inch reach. Sijara Eubanks, 5'4" inches tall, and has a 67-inch reach. This is going to be a very close fight in my opinion. If you look at the betting odds for this fight, I think they're pretty close actually. Sijara Eubanks currently sitting around -130. Pannie Kianzad is around +120, somewhere around there. So this is a very close fight on this fight card. I mean, Pannie Kianzad is actually the favorite when you look at the Tapology predictions. But when you think about it, I mean, Sijara Eubanks, she is so good at controlling her fights on the ground. I know we didn't really get to see a lot of that in the fight with Ketlin Vieira, but when you're facing a girl like Ketlin Vieira, who has very good submission skills and is an amazing kickboxer, it's hard to complete your game plan that Sijara Eubanks usually likes to do, where she likes to get a TKO or bring the fight to the ground and just unleash all of her ground and pound. And in a fight against Pannie Kianzad, I think Sijara Eubanks has a very good chance of actually completing her game plan and getting the fight to the ground and going for all that ground and pound shots against Pannie Kianzad, and that is why I actually have Sijara Eubanks winning this fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, so for this next fight, which is a welterweight fight, the last fight on these prelims, we have Belal Muhammad and Diego Lima going at it. We have a top 15 welterweight and a top 60 welterweight. Belal Muhammad is currently ranked 13th at welterweight worldwide. He's 17-3, only 1 loss recently against Neal by unanimous decision around 2 years ago. But since then, he's got on a 3-fight win streak against Curtis Melender by unanimous decision, Takashi Sato by rear naked choke submission, and then Lyman Good around 5 months ago by unanimous decision. He's 32 years old, 5'11" inches tall, and has a reach of 71 inches. Diego Lima is on a 3-fight win streak, 1 against Chad LaPriest by knockout, 1 against Court McGee by split decision, and then once against Luka Jamu by split decision. Now, even though both of these fighters are on 3-fight win streaks inside the UFC, I mean, Diego Lima, the guys he faced on that 3-fight win streak are nothing at all compared to the guys Belal Muhammad faced on his 3-fight win streak. I mean, Curtis Melender, Takashi Sato, Lyman Good, all three of those guys are very, very good strikers. Diego Lima is much worse at striking than those guys in Curtis Melender, Takashi Sato, and Lyman Good. I mean, Diego Lima is fighting a top 15 welterweight in the world. And I mean, Belal Muhammad, his striking is so much better than Diego Lima, and that is why I think this fight's going to go all the way, and I have Belal Muhammad absolutely dominating, getting a 30-27 on all three judges' scorecards, getting the unanimous decision victory over Diego Lima in this fight. Alright guys, oh my god, we have made it to the main card, and I am so stoked for this fight. Anthony Pettis stepping in on short notice to fight Alex Murano at welterweight. I mean, come on. Anthony Pettis is coming off of a nice win a couple of months ago against Donald Cerrone by unanimous decision. Before that, losing 2 fights to Diego Pajeta and Nate Diaz. Before that, beating Steven Wonderboy Thompson. I mean, absolutely insane. Alex Murano lost a fight before this one to Chaos Williams. Came back after that with a unanimous decision win over Reese McKee. Absolutely dominant performance there. But I mean, Anthony Pettis, he is an absolute beast. 33, almost 34 years old. He's getting a little bit older here, but he still looks very sharp. He's a top 25 welterweight fighter in the world. Alex Murano, a top 50 welterweight fighter in the world. I'm going to tell you right now, this fight is going to be very good, but Anthony Pettis, he has so much experience in this welterweight division, fighting so many big names, becoming a lightweight champion, beating guys like Jim Miller, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chiesa, Steven Thompson, Gilbert Melendez, Benson Henderson, Donald Cerrone, Joe Lozon, Jeremy Stevens, Benson Henderson yet again. I mean, this dude has fought so many people. And he's learned so much about this fight game, and that is why I think Alex Murano is going to have a very tough time against Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis is a veteran fighter in this welterweight division. I know the UFC is probably hoping Alex Murano wins this one so they can push him up in this welterweight division because he's looking really good ever since that loss to Chaos Williams. But I think Anthony Pettis, he's way too good of a veteran fighter for Alex Murano to beat. Even on short notice in this fight, Anthony Pettis is going to look absolutely amazing, and I think it's going to be close. I think it might be a 29-28. It's possible it could be 30-27, but I think this fight is going to be very close. Alex Murano might win one of those rounds, but I have Anthony Pettis ultimately winning the fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, so the next fight on this fight card is a grappler versus striker fight between Gillian Robertson and Taila Santos. Obviously, Gillian Robertson is the grappler in this fight, the 12th best flyweight in the world, 9-4, coming off of 2 wins, one by unanimous decision and one by rear naked choke submission. She's a younger fighter at 25.5 years old, 5'5" tall and has a reach of 63 inches. Taila Santos, 16-1, the 23rd best flyweight fighter in the world, coming off of a dominant victory over Molly McCann by unanimous decision around 4.5 months ago. She's 27.5 years old, 5'6" tall, and has a reach of 68 inches. Taila Santos, obviously the striker in this one. The thing is, whoever can control the fight where they want to control the fight is going to win the fight. It's that simple. Gillian Robertson obviously is going to be wanting to control the fight on the ground. Taila Santos obviously is going to be wanting to control the fight on the feet. It just depends on where this fight goes. Gillian Robertson is going to be going for takedown after takedown after takedown. And once she gets one, which I'm very certain that she will, she's gonna go after submission after submission after submission, and she just might get one, but I'm not seeing that happen. I do think Gillian Robertson can dominate most of the fight on the ground. Taila Santos will have her moments in this fight. It is a very close fight. And even the odds are saying it. Gillian Robertson currently sitting around -130 as a slight favorite to win this fight. Taila Santos is currently sitting around the +100 underdog. I mean, Gillian Robertson, I'm going to tell you right now, her grappling and wrestling is absolutely insane. Taila Santos has never fought a person that has this good of grappling in this women's flyweight division. And just because of that reason, I'm picking Gillian Robertson to win this fight. Because Taila Santos has never faced anyone like Gillian Robertson. It's going to be really hard to keep the fight on the feet when you have Gillian Robertson going for takedown after takedown after takedown, and once she gets you on the ground, she is not letting you back up, and that is why I think Gillian Robertson is going to win the fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, we arguably have an even closer fight than the one we just predicted in Greg Hardy taking on Marcin Taibira. If you look at the betting odds for this fight, Marcin Taibira, the best odds you have him at are plus 103. Greg Hardy is actually a slight favorite at minus 110, which is absolutely insane for him to actually be a favorite in this one, going against a top 15 heavyweight fighter in the world. Marcin Taibira is on a 3-fight winning streak right now against Ben Rothwell by unanimous decision, Maxim Grishin by unanimous decision, and then Sergey Spivak, also by unanimous decision. Before that, losing to Augusto Sakai and Shamil Abdurrahimov, both by knockout. That is the way he usually loses his fights, is by knockout. Greg Hardy, we all know him as a knockout specialist. He's coming off of 2 wins against Maurice Green by knockout, and then Yorgan Castro by unanimous decision. If you watch that fight with Yorgan Castro, he definitely could have got a knockout, but Yorgan Castro, I believe, hurt one of his toes in the first round and couldn't really engage with Greg Hardy, where Greg Hardy could have got a knockout from there. But I mean, Marcin Taibira, he's 35 years old. Greg Hardy, 32 years old. They both have similar heights, similar reaches. Marcin Taibira, 6'3" tall, has a 78-inch reach. Greg Hardy, 6'5" tall, and has a 80.5-inch reach. I already know this fight is going to be super duper close. Even if you look at the Tapology predictions, out of 509 votes, 58% of the vote are going for Marcin Taibira to win the fight, mainly by unanimous decision. Some people do think he's going to get a knockout, which I think is a little bit unlikely. I think the main way Marcin Taibira is going to win the fight is going to be by unanimous decision. That is the way he usually likes to win his fights. Even the past 3 fights he's had against Ben Rothwell, Maxim Grishin, and Sergey Spivak, they've all been wins by unanimous decision. So I definitely think this fight is going to go all the way if Marcin Taibira is going to want to win this fight. Greg Hardy, obviously, 79% of the vote are going for Greg Hardy to win the fight by knockout, and that's no surprise. I mean, obviously, Greg Hardy loves to win his fights by knockout, but when you're facing a guy like Marcin Taibira, who has such good takedowns and such good ground and pound, I mean, it's really, really hard for me to count out the 13th best heavyweight fighter in the world in Marcin Taibira, and that is why I have Marcin Taibira winning the fight by unanimous decision. I just don't think Greg Hardy can handle the takedowns of Marcin, the constant pressure of those takedowns and grappling, his submission skills even. If the fight goes on the ground, I think Greg Hardy's going to be done from there, and that's why I have Marcin Taibira winning the fight 30-27 on all judges' scorecards, winning the fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, so on this next fight, we have Marlon Rice, the 4th best bantamweight fighter in the world, and Rob Font, the 8th best bantamweight fighter in the world. Marlon Rice is 23-7-1, Rob Font 17-4. Marlon Rice is coming off of a loss to Corey Sandhagen by wheel hit KO. Before that, he got a win over Jose Aldo by decision, and then before that, lost to Henry Cejudo by TKO for that bantamweight strap. Before that, he was doing very good, beating guys like Jimmy Rivera by head kick KO and Rafael Santos by guillotine choke submission. He's 32.5 years old. Rob Font, 17-4. He's 33 years old, coming off of 2 wins against Ricky Simon by unanimous decision, and Sergio Pettis, also by unanimous decision. They're both similar heights, but definitely a reach advantage for Rob Font, as he has a reach of 71.5 inches, compared to the reach of Marlon Rice, who has a reach of 66.5 inches. That is going to play a huge factor in this fight. And I definitely do think this fight is going to stay on the feet, and I think there's a 30% chance, maybe a 35% chance, that there's a finish from one of these fighters in this fight. But I have a feeling this fight's going to go all the way, and Marlon Rice, with that absolutely amazing experience, fighting absolute beasts in this bantamweight division, like Corey Sandhagen, Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, Rafael Santos, Jimmy Rivera, Aljamain Sterling, John Dodson, Rafael Santos again, then Josh Hill. He's fought so many people in this bantamweight division. I think his experience is going to help him win this fight by unanimous decision. Alright guys, so this next fight with Michelle Bajera and Chaos Williams, I'm going to tell you right now, this fight is not going all the way. I'm giving the chances that this fight goes all the way, probably a 30% chance. This fight is going to end as a knockout or a submission, no matter what. I mean, Chaos Williams, coming off of 2 wins already inside the UFC, once against Alex Murano, was also on this fight card by knockout, and then one against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, literally just 3 weeks ago, by first round knockout. I mean, he knocked out a knockout artist in the first round with literally the first punch he threw. That was absolutely insane. And then Michel Pajeta, he's an absolute beast as well, coming off an absolutely dominant victory over Zalim Imadaev. If you look at that win over Zalim Imadaev, he was dominating him on the feet. Even when the fight hit the ground, he was dominating him there as well. This fight, I think, is going to be really, really close. If you look at the betting odds for this fight, Michel Pajeta is currently sitting around minus 116. And then Chaos Williams is currently sitting around minus 107, which means this is basically a 50-50 fight. Just flip a coin, and that's who's going to win the fight. That's not really what I'm thinking. That's what the odds makers are saying. But I'm thinking Chaos Williams, he has absolutely amazing power. 2 knockouts already this year inside the UFC against very legit competition. In Alex Murano and Abdullah Razak Al Hassan. Michel Pajeta is currently 2-2 inside the UFC right now, losing to Diego Sanchez by disqualification and Tristan Connolly by unanimous decision. I think this fight is definitely going to stay on the feet. It's going to be a very, very fun fight. But Chaos Williams, my God, I really do think that Michel Pajeta is going to be a little bit uncautious in this fight against Chaos Williams. And I do think Chaos Williams will catch Michel Pajeta with a nice right hand in the second round, knocking him out cold in that second round. That is my prediction. I have Chaos Williams winning this fight by second round knockout. Alright guys, that leads to the co-main event of the evening between Jose Aldo and Marlon Vera. I'm going to tell you right now, Jose Aldo is a top 10 bantamweight. Marlon Rice is a top 12 bantamweight in the world. This is going to be a very, very good fight. But Jose Aldo is on a 3-fight losing streak right now. I believe to the bantamweight champion in Petroyan. Marlon Rice, a top 5 bantamweight in the world. And then Alexander Volkanovsky, the current featherweight champion. Before that, beating Renato Moicano by knockout. And then Jeremy Stephens by TKO. Jose Aldo still has it, in my opinion. He's just on a little bit of a down streak here. In my opinion, I actually think he beat Marlon Rice. So that's probably why they put him in this co-main event. Also to push Marlon Vera if he wins this fight. Marlon Vera, 12th best bantamweight in the world, 18-6-1. Only one loss recently to Yadong Song in a fight that a lot of people think that Marlon Vera actually won. He's also coming off of a nice win against Sean O'Malley. Before that, beating guys like Andre Ewell by TKO, Nohelin Hernandez by rear naked choke submission, and Frankie Saenz by KO in the first round. They're both sort of similar ages. Jose Aldo's only 34 years old. For that amount of experience, that is absolutely insane. Marlon Vera is 28 years old. They're both similar heights and similar reaches at 5'7" and 5'8" inches tall. Similar reaches, 70 inches and 70.5 inches. I'm going to tell you right now, this fight is going to be very, very close. If you look at the betting odds for this fight, those are close as well. Jose Aldo currently sitting around minus 150, minus 160 as a pretty big favorite to win this fight. I believe Marlon Vera is sitting around plus 130, somewhere around there. So this is a very, very close fight, according to the odds makers. And guys, I'm going to tell you as it is, Jose Aldo, he still has it. He is 34 years old. He's getting a little bit up there in the age, but I definitely know that he still has these skills to beat a guy like Marlon Vera, a young up-and-comer in this bantamweight division. I know the UFC really, really wants Marlon Vera to win this fight, so they can set him up with a top 5 opponent, and fast-track him to a title, as he just beat Sean O'Malley. But he's facing a really, really tough competition in Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo, absolutely amazing striker. He has an amazing leg kicks, and I think that's going to play a factor in this fight. Jose Aldo, I think is going to keep the fight on the feet. This is going to be a very close fight. I actually think Jose Aldo is going to lose one of these rounds, but overall win the fight by unanimous decision, 29-28 on all 3 judges' scorecards. Alright, so for this next fight, the main event of the evening between Geoff Neal and Stephen Thompson, I'm telling you right now, I don't actually know why Stephen Thompson is minus 105 and is barely a favorite against Geoff Neal, who's at plus 100. I don't think those are the correct betting odds for this fight. In my opinion, I'd have Stephen Thompson around minus 130, minus 125, and then I have Geoff Neal around plus 110, plus 120, because Stephen Thompson, he has absolutely amazing kickboxing, coming off of an amazing win over Vicente Luque around a year ago. Before that, losing to Anthony Pettis by Superman punch knockout and Darren Till by unanimous decision. Obviously, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, he's an amazing fighter in this welterweight division. He's almost 38 years old, but still, he has amazing skills. He's 6 foot tall, 75-inch reach. Geoff Neal, 5'11" inches tall, 75-inch reach as well. He's much younger at 30 years old. The 12th best welterweight in the world, 13-2. He's on an amazing streak in this welterweight division, beating guys like Mike Perry by knockout, Nico Price by knockout, Bilal Muhammad by unanimous decision, Frank Camacho by head kick KO, and then Brian Kamazi by rear naked choke submission. I'm sorry, Neal. I think this is actually going to be the end of your streak. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, I think is just way too good. There's a chance Neal could get a knockout in the first or second round, but I think this fight's going to go all the way. And Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is going to dominate the fight using that range and his kicking skills, getting a lot of good leg kicks in on Neal in this fight. I think it's going to be close. It could be at 29-28, just like the co-main event between Jose Aldo and Marlon Vera. I know this fight is going to be close, but not close enough where I would say Neal has a very, very good chance of winning it. I think Neal's chances of winning this fight are 33%. I definitely think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is going to dominate the fight on the feet. It is a 5-round fight, and I have Stephen Thompson winning the fight, probably 49-48, unanimous decision. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching that video. Make sure to put your predictions in the comment section below. I would love to see what you guys think about this 15-fight card. Absolutely insane. If you like this very, very long video, it's already in the 30 minutes. That's absolutely insane. But if you like the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot. If you turn on post notifications as well, you won't miss when I post a new video. That would be absolutely insane if you did that. So make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. It's been a fun video. I'm out of here.